just want you to see this is me. So please accept me for who I am. And please accept me for what I do. I'm just doing everything that I can. Cause all I wanna be is true.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in with me again. If you are tuning in for the second time, third time, fourth time, however many times, and if you are new to this channel, I am Tia Morel, and thank you for tuning in as well. But you guys, be sure to go and subscribe first. Subscribe to my channel and go ahead and like this video, as well as check my previous videos out if you haven't done so, and get them a like. You guys, I am creating this channel, if you don't know, to create a space for myself to be vulnerable and transparent with you guys, and all you guys to do the same, to be on a journey with me. I am on a journey to get myself back right with God again, God's word and everything. And so it hasn't been an easy journey. I definitely been having my ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster. And so, cause temptation is real. And so that's another subject I'm going to talk about. But today's topic, you guys, is something that's kind of like dear to me, and something that I feel has had a big impact on my life in terms of how I managed to live my daily life, and how I dealt with a lot of things after dealing with what I'm about to talk about, which is grief. And many of us have experienced grief, whether it's a loss of a family member, a friend, associate, a pet. Like, we all experience grief, and I think people try to put limitations on how you should grieve based off the loss that you experience. And for me, I lost both my parents. I lost my dad first, and I lost my dad when I was 23, and that was like my first time, because actually I had lost my grandma when I was like 16, and that kind of hurt it. I was kind of sad behind that and everything. And that was like my first true experience of loss. But my first real experience of grief, of how it pretty much like changed my life, was when, oh my God, guys, I just now started, I'm about to cry. Is when I experienced the loss of my dad. And I was 23 years, and let me tell you, this is why I'm kind of comfortable today, because I'm like, I know this is going to be a subject where I'm going to be shedding a lot of tears, and I'm hoping that I can hold my composure and myself as I talk to you guys about my experience. And so, so my real true experience with just really knowing what it's like to have a loss that hit, and to have to know what it is to go through all the stages of grief, was when I lost my dad. And like I said, I was 23 years old, and I was a daddy's girl. So being that I was a daddy's girl, that was a devastating loss to me. Like, my whole world turned upside down. And I think in that moment, that's when I looked up at God, and I said, God, I hate you. And I know that's something that's crazy to say, but I literally had hate for God, and I lost all faith. Even though I was not always down a righteous path, I always kind of lived a sinful life ever since I was young. And even though I was brought up in church and raised in the Christian household, and godly values was always instilled within me, but I still led a sinful life, and I still lived the life in the streets, but I still knew God. Like, I still knew, the love that God had for me. And I knew, and sometimes I blame that to it. That was the reason. Like, I started questioning and wondering, like, what was the reason? Why did you take my dad so young, not knowing that I'm low key being kind of selfish because there's people that lose their parents when they're born or when they're toddlers or even younger than what I was. But yet and still, I felt like it was a punishment. Like, if this is how you punish me, like, you could have punished me any other way, but you decided to take my dad from me. Like, God, how dare you? And in that moment, I decided to go down a path because I literally couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was drinking, and I mean like drinking to the point where I was drinking in front of my mom's house. And anybody that knows my mom and to know my mom is know she don't play with that drinking. She don't care how old you are. You know, if you're grown, my mom don't play with that drinking. And so, yeah, I was drinking and I was just, just losing myself. And I remember my mom came to me and she's like, um, you have to let go. Like, you have to figure, pretty much like you have to figure life out without your dad. Like, you can't just sit here in your sorrows. You can't sit here and just be, in your sadness or whatever it is. I was in it deep. And she's like, you have to get up, you got to get a job, you got to do something with yourself, because I literally was just every day, because I wasn't doing nothing or keeping myself busy. I was literally locked in that feeling of grief and sorrow of just a betrayal, hurt from my God, like, and so I decided to, get a job, even though it killed me. And I ended up getting a job in a field was that was not a field that I should have been in, but it was a very erotic field. And I decided to take that path because I was like, you know what? I don't care no more, because I literally was in the state where I wanted to give up. Like, I literally wanted to die because I felt like a piece of me was taken. And in that moment, I just wanted to let go. I just wanted to let go. I wanted to give up. I was like, there's no reason. There's no reason for me to live. Like, why am I living? Why am I here? And then when I thought about it, like I had mentioned in one of my previous videos, like, I always kind of had suicidal thoughts and suicidal, attention, which that would be a topic to discuss as well too. But I was like, you know what? Because I'm not going to allow myself to take my life, I'm just going to destroy my life and then hope that in me destroying it, that, it'll get taken by not me, but just by the destruction that I put myself in. And so I literally went down a very crazy, non-caring, giving up on life type of path. And I know a lot of people feel or have sort of says of how you should grieve and how you should not let things, but it's easier said than done. Like, just because you as a person may have been able to continue to live your life and do things and let it not be so much of a bother, don't mean that I have to live that way. Like, unfortunately, I was the one, and I am the one, that when I get affected by a loss that's a deep loss to me that hurts, I kind of have a hard time of learning how to deal with it. And so I never was the one to just go on like nothing ever happened and, continue to live life as if the person is not there, because it's like a constant reminder, especially when you have a tight bond with this person or some sort of closeness to this person. It's like you long for them to constantly be there. You long for their presence, even though you may know that they're in heaven. And this is how I felt like, and that's why I'm doing that in heaven. It's nothing like having them in the presence in front of you, hearing their voice, hugging them, touching them, and just constantly being reminded every day, hoping that you wake up and that it's just a dream, that it was just a nightmare, and every day coming to realization that it's not a dream, that it is real, like that person is gone. Like, it hurts. And even when we talk about it, I'm okay. Like, I went through the emotions, and I never went to go seek help, like, because that's what I'm going to talk about in this video as well too. And sometimes I'll be like, people are like, well, maybe you need to get help, but I try to be my own counsel. And now that I'm getting myself back right with God, I try to look for God, you know, and I don't know. I'm still trying to hope that maybe one day I'll find some sort of support, community or something. Um, but yeah, like I literally don't know how to let go and just continue to live a life because, like I said, grief is pretty much grief and death is like it's not a temporary suffering. Like it's a permanent suffering. Like it's something that lasts forever. As long as you're alive and you love this person had a big effect on your life and just touched your life tremendously and left good memories and good thoughts and good feelings and everything. Even if there may have been moments that wasn't always nice and always good, but that person was still there for you and just made a positive influence in your life and had a great impact in your life. Like you just can't let that go. Like you're gonna always think about that person, you know. And one thing I could be grateful for is that the memories that was left. Like I'm grateful that I'm able to have good memories. That my dad death was not in vain. Like it wasn't one of those situations where he left bad memories and done things and stuff to me or whatever the case may be that a lot of people experience out here. Like I was blessed enough to have a good dad that loved me beyond all measures, that would have did anything for me, that put me in the forefront of everything, after God, of course. And yeah, so I definitely had to go through life with just not caring. And then that's how I started experiencing with drugs. And then I had my first experience with powder. And in that moment of my time where I was going through that moment, I didn't know what the person was talking about at the time because remember the person was like, I remember this day like it was yesterday because the job where I was working at, and I remember one of the girls came up to me and she was like, you want to go in the bathroom and party? And I'm like thinking like going to the bathroom and party, like we about to go and party, like freaking, okay, let's just go in the bathroom and dance and, have a great time in the bathroom. And, the vibe out here is good. And then so we went in the bathroom and I remember that she took out a little sack and it had some white, and I'm just looking like, what is she doing? Like, what is that? And then she was like, here, you want some? And I'm like, what is it? And, she told me, and I was like, oh no, I'm good. And then she's like, come on. And then I don't know, in that instance, and I know it was the devil because I was, like I said, I was in a vulnerable stage. I was hurt. I was mad at God. I was mad at the world. I was just mad. And something in that instant when she said, the second time she said, like, come on here. Something in me was like, do it. Like, why would you not do it? Like, girl, your dad is gone. Like, God don't give a fuck about you. Like, that's literally like, excuse my language, but that's exactly what was said in what I felt. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. What kind of harm can this do to me than the harm of me losing my dad? Like, and so I did what I did, and and it was one of those moments that I literally lived a life, with that type of experience, constantly indulging in that, thinking that that's going to heal me, and make me feel, but it didn't. I mean, all it did in the moments, it just made me, destroy myself and constantly destroy myself. But I didn't care at the time. And, yeah, I literally decided to just say, it is what it is to anything and everything that I did after I lost my dad. And yeah, other people may not have went through certain things or allowed things to be put in their body or allow themselves to experience or degrade themselves or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't care. I didn't care about life. Like, I literally gave up on me. I stopped loving me. I stopped just caring. And that's when the devil really did a thing on me. He literally put me in dangerous situations. I put myself in. Like, it's a lot. And then it took a while, for me to get over my dad. Lucky enough, when I met a friend of mine's, she was with me through my trials and tribulations of going through the motions, and but I thank God for her, because I think even though we don't have that tight of a bond that we had back then, but I really feel that she was put in my life to help me. Even though we both met in a situation that was ungodly, and we met in the devil's world, put it like that. And so, but yeah, it was definitely hard. Like, grief is so like and if I could go through what I went through losing a child, I mean a parent, I could only imagine what people go through losing a child, like, and have the same sort of like feelings I be feeling, experiences I be experiencing. Like, sometimes people even take their own life because it's that serious. Like, people be like, it's not that serious. Yes, the demons be in the head and it be that serious. Like, and you got to understand, like, the devil, the demons, they know who to attack. They know who to go to. They know who to try to get. And yeah, they may try to get some people, but then some people may be strong enough to fight off those demons. But I clearly was just not one of those people that was able to fight off those demons. And so eventually, after I got kind of through accepting the loss of my dad, and it took a long time, even though I'm still, in grief. Like, I'm still like grieving my dad's death, but I kind of became accepted and okay with the fact of not having my dad here. Like, it started to slowly come to acceptance, and I started to be able to say, okay, you know, and I found love for God again and everything. And even with the situations, like a relationship, which going to be another topic too, a relationship I allow myself to get in, where I allow a person to mentally, physically, emotionally abuse me because I felt like I was deserving of it. I was worthless and everything. And so that's going to be another topic to talk about as well too. But then anyways, when I got through the part of saying that, when I got over my dad's death, to the point where I'm able to just live and survive without, just having any kind of animosity or hurt. And it's like I finally got over it. And then I would say it took like over like 10 years or so for me to finally get over like really come to acceptance. And then next thing you know, here it is, my mom gets sick. And then when my mom got sick, it wasn't like, at first it was like, okay, and then, she went on, because at first when she had her first scare, I was like, God, please don't do this to me. Please don't do this. And so real quick before I get into that, I had two different types of experience when it comes to losing a loved one. My dad's death was an instant death. And let me tell you, the instant death, when you don't get enough time to be okay or understand that the person is about to leave this earth, oh my God. And I think that's why that was like the worst experience for me, because it was instant. And so I don't know if I would have done half the stuff I did if I had more time, knowing that it was going to happen. I would have been hurt. But the fact that it was instantly, or one day I called to speak to him. And I remember this day as well too. I called, and my mom, let me remind you, I'm a daddy's girl. So my dad always would talk to me, like always, no matter what, would talk to me. And I remember my mom was like, oh, he don't want to, he just said, tell you he love you. He don't feel like talking right now. And something in me said something ain't right. My dad always talked to me. He never not talked to me. But she's like, he just said, let you know he love you and he don't feel like talking. And the next thing you know, like 5 hours later, I get a phone call early in the morning from my cousin, letting me know that they was rushing my dad to the hospital. Then I get to the hospital, and then we waited. And then next thing you know, they said my dad is dead. And I was just like, wait, what? Like, and that's just, anyway, so that's how that happened. And then so my mom, after she had her first scare, it's like, okay, thank you, God, whatever. And then as time went on, I thought my mom was getting better. I thought she was doing better. Then I guess things wasn't, because, sometimes people don't tell you everything that they're experiencing or going through, or they're trying to make it seem like whatever illness they're experiencing, that they're okay, that they're doing okay. But I remember my mom last situation, where we had to go to the hospital. I think it was like for the third time. And this time, the third time, it was kind of bad. And then that's when, and it was literally a month after my wedding. And I remember, okay, and then so, she was in a coma, and she was in a coma for like a month and stuff. And throughout that process, and plus, and of course, the doctor said, wasn't looking good and stuff. But I just kept praying to God, like, God, I'm just gonna leave it in your hand. If it's meant to be, hey, it is what it is. I just hope and pray that, she'll get through this. But if you're ready for her, I would have to accept that. And I think my mom knew that she had to hold in there for me. Like, I literally felt like she knew she had to hold in there, because the way I experienced the instant death of my dad, I knew she had to give me enough time to be okay. And I think when God knew that I was going to be okay, and my mama knew that I was going to be okay, I think that's when she finally just let go and went to be with God. And, it hurt, but it didn't hurt like it hurt with my dad, because I had enough time to prepare and stuff like that. But then as time went on, of course, once it's all said and done, and, you have the funeral and you bury the person, it's like reality really sits in once the next day hit, and then you realize that that person is gone, because you still kind of had their body, even though they was not in their body, but the body was still here on earth, even though it was lifeless. But now that you buried it and it's gone, and it's nothing that you can look at or touch or feel no more, it's like, and so I started going through my emotions. But look, it wasn't as bad, as it was with my dad, but I was going through the emotions, the ups and downs, and then I started losing interest in things that I once had interest for, because I was a person that liked going to the gym and everything. And then so now it's like my interest for the gym is gone. Like things that I love making, doing things. And then it's like my love for the things that I love doing is gone. And it's like anytime I start something, I lose interest fast. And then it's like, I don't know, I just feel like my whole grieving process has really took a toll of me and my decision making and how I move in life, how I move out here and stuff like that. Like sometimes I'm just ready to throw in the towel and just give up and just, but now I'm trying to keep myself more focused on God and put my trust in God. I'm like, God, I don't know why you do what you do. I don't know why you take the life of those early, I didn't expect it, or that we were hoping to expect that they'll be here with us and everything, but I would trust and believe that there is a greater purpose for me out here. There is a reason for me being out here. I'm just trying to do whatever it is I can to stay strong every day, to be able to live according to whatever it is that is meant for me to do out here. And so, I wish that I allowed myself in both instance of my mom and dad passing to actually have an outlet. But unfortunately, I didn't have an outlet. Like my outlet was just pretty much suffering in my own grief, like just living in my own grief. Like I didn't turn to no therapist. And at one point I was trying to look for a therapist, but then I'm like, is a therapist going to be able to tell me what I want to know? Or are they going to relate to me? I'm going to relate to that therapist. Then now I'm getting my head about a therapist and not knowing if it's going to be a waste of money. The thing about the money factor is my insurance. And because if I don't pay a lot, is it going to be a good therapist because I'm not paying a lot for this therapist? If my insurance is covering somebody, I pay a copay. Like this is all the stuff I'm thinking like, and then I'm just like, well, maybe I just need to turn to God. But I know there's people that's into God, that's heavily into God, that still have therapists. And it's like, so I don't know. I know that maybe me, trying to build a relationship with God and seek God for guidance, it's enough, but it's not enough, if that makes sense. Like maybe there is another voice that I need to hear. Maybe it's a voice that maybe God will speak through if I just allow myself to get in the presence of that person, like a therapist, to allow God to speak through them to me. So I don't know. I've been trying to think and figure all this stuff out, and I know everybody have their own, reasons, whether they do therapists or not and stuff. So yeah, I wish I had a routine. I wish I had an outlet. I wish I had things to turn to that I found interest in that wouldn't destroy me but make me greater. Because I know some people use grief to make them go harder out here, to make their parents or whoever, significant other, whoever proud of them, or build foundations and, in their significant other child, whatever name, and just do all sorts of stuff to try to honor that person, keep that person memory alive or whatever the case may be. But me, it's like, it was no sense of thrill on any level. Like, all I was thinking about was just trying to be able to sleep, take whatever I need to take to go to sleep, drink however much alcohol I need to drink to go to sleep, to not even feel the pain that I'm feeling, the grief that I'm feeling, like just giving up on life, not want to do nothing, like feeling like a failure, just tearing myself down. Like, that's all I was doing throughout the process, is just tearing myself down. And I know the devil was loving every second of it, every minute of it, and one thing I could say is, through it all, even though I gave up on God, I hated God, I couldn't stand him, and all that stuff, he still kept his loving arms of protection. He still continued to love me no matter what. And I'm just so grateful and thankful, because he could have gave up on me. He could have allowed me to let go. He could allow me to destroy myself, let the devil destroy me and everything, but he kept me strong in ways where I really thought I was weak. He really showed me how strong I am, and the battles that I fought with the demons in my head and just life. And I'm just grateful and thankful that I'm able to just be in a place now where, yes, I have my moments. I'm not going to always say that I'm fully healed. I definitely have my moments. Some days is good days, some days it's okay days, and then every now and then I have my bad days where I just get back in that stage where I just, I don't know, like I just feel like I want to isolate myself, like just don't want to be around nobody, don't want to do nothing, like, so it's definitely, grief is hard. And for anybody that experienced the grief that just hits so hard in the heart, like, and manage to just still live a life that's fulfilling, oh my God, I praise you. I'm just like, because I wish I was able and is able to be that person to just not really, get so caught up in my grief, to allow it to not make me be great out here for the sake of that person, or in the name of that person and stuff. So, but I know in one day, I know it's time, I'm slowly trying to get interest in things and stay consistent in things. And I'm slowly, and I know God is working on me. And I hope that he's working on you, for those of you who's going through grief, whether it's of a parent, a child, a close friend, a best friend, a cousin, sister, cousin, brother, cousin, however it is, grandparent, like person that was just so influential in your life. Like, just know that it's never going to be easy. You're just going to have to eventually learn how to deal with it and come to realization and just be acceptance and stuff, and just try to find a way, as hard as it is, because believe me, I know, as hard as it is, just try to find something. Try to have that one person that you can confide in. Because let me tell you, I turned to my aunties. One of my aunties passed recently too, and that was another loss that had happened. That was like a mom to me. So just like losing her and stuff like that, because I would turn to her when I'm going through things, and so, but now I still have my other auntie that I could confide in and talk to. So it's like having somebody to talk to that you can confide in, if it's a therapist or a family member, somebody that just give you that sense of comfort. If you could find somebody, that would be great. I try to just turn to God and look for God and seek guidance for God and pray. And, and I'm not going to say I'm consistent with my prayers and consistent with my asking and all that stuff, but I know I'm trying to get there and trying to, be better in my ways and actions when it comes to being closer to God. But yeah, with some of the stuff that I mentioned in this video, I am going to do other videos to kind of tackle on that. When I say of the relationship that I was in, experiencing verbal, mental, emotional abuse, and give more of a topic about that, and allowing myself to be destroyed in that way. And also just, with the drugs and the lifestyle, is going to be videos and topics on that. So, but I just really wanted to say, because I know there's a lot of people that's grieving right now that don't know how to deal with it, that don't know how to continue to move on with life, that just sometimes take their life after losing a parent or child or whatever. But try to stay strong. As hard as it is, just try to stay strong, seek help. That's all I can say, because it's hard, I know, but thank God I had family members I could turn to, him. I had God I could turn to and stuff. My husband's so great through the process, especially after losing my mom and being there and knowing there and just going through the emotional roller coaster. So yeah, I just thank God for me having people that I can turn to when I do have my moments, and that understand, and I just wish the same for you. But yes, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. I am Tia Morel. If I didn't say so, I can't remember. Just like I was trying to cry, I'm crying and everything. But thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel. And like I said, I'm always open to constructive criticisms or any kind of feedback. So feel free to leave them in the comment, you guys. Thank you again. And once again, everybody, this is me. Thank you. Okay, you guys, so one thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to say was that it is also okay to grieve however you want to grieve. Like, don't let nobody dictate how you should grieve. Don't let nobody tell you, oh, you shouldn't cry so much, you shouldn't do this. No, allow your emotions to flow. Like, that is the only way you are going to heal. That's the only way you are going to be able to sustain the emotions over a course of time, is if you just allow yourself to grieve. But because those that sit in the grief, they don't realize that they're doing internal harm by just sitting in that grief. You have to let go. You have to allow your emotions to just, it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream. Like, sometimes you have to find those moments where you just step away and just cry or scream or do whatever. Like, you have to release those emotions out of your body. So don't let nobody ever tell you that that's not okay. Don't do it. Like, you shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Or think you crazy, or think no. Like, because one thing I'm going to do is I am going to cry. I am going to scream. I am going to do whatever I have to do just to release those emotions that I'm feeling. Because once I do it, I realize that I do feel better. Like, I do literally feel a little better. Yeah, it don't take away nothing or make nothing go away, but you just feel better, like, in that moment and in that course where you can may be able to continue your day or go about your day or next day or whatever the case may be, until you eventually feel it again. Like, it's okay. It's okay not to be okay and say you're not okay. Like, it's okay. Just as long as you're trying to find a way to be okay, if that all makes sense. So just know, cry, scream, shout, do whatever you have to do necessary. Grieve how you want to grieve. Don't let nobody dictate that. Don't let nobody take that away from you.